to the wonderful radio show right here on internet radio, the first internet radio. See, I could do one where my voice just trails off. I could do the show where I talk, I say things very seriously, but at the end of the sentence, I go, right? And because you know what I'd love to, here's what I'd love to hear. I'd love to be able to get in the car, maybe I'm on my way to the post office, or I'm on my way to shopping, the very few places I go. The one friend I have that go to that, going there. But I don't go a lot of places and do things. But I'd love to turn on the AM radio, and there's Rush, Rush Bamboo, or whatever his name is, right? And hear him say, Rush Ball, and he goes, this is Rush Ball, and EIB Radio says, and then he's going to talk about all this political stuff, and he said, boy, what is the left doing now? And then go, 2, 3, 4, I've got you under my skin, and then have him sing, right, in the back, and just sing a song, and then, I don't care if he's on key or off key, sing the song, and then stop and go right back to where he was, to what he was talking about. Just stop and do a song. That would be great. And how about Glenn Beck doing a show? Well, anyway, you know what I mean. With oatmeal in his mouth. Hot oatmeal. I don't know. I'd love to hear these things. So I'm not going to, because these people are, bent on being whatever it is they are and saying their stuff without, because anybody could be a radio host. It's, you don't have to pass a test. Right? You don't have to know anything. All you have to do is have one opinion and go everything around that, and then you could do a show. You could sit and talk. That, of course, what we're going to hear, I guess, more of that when the people doing their shows on Periscope can't do them anymore, because Periscope, whether you know it or not, we've done a couple of Periscope shows here. It's gone, man. It's going. One of these weeks, no more Periscope. So all the girls who have nothing to do in their house, it has nothing to do with the lockdown either, because it's just, who want to just get money from guys, go into a private room and just, I don't know what they do. I got to pay them for that, for God's sakes. But, I'm not saying some aren't worth it if you're into that thing. I'm just saying they'll have to go to, the other places, because there's still plenty of places where people are not doing truly sexual things. It's all become it's a virtual world now. And it was before, because of the nature of new technology. But now everything, right? It's another thing we should do. I want to get, I got to talk to Jiggy Jaguar, of course, is one of the guys, one of the voices that has been around for as long as there has been internet radio, although he wasn't the first. Although he did some stuff there on that crazy network. But anyway, we know that radio is dying, and that's why we continually do every first show of the year. And I think 2 years ago he had the flu, and he was on the second week. But, it's just one of those things we do every first show of every year. Jig and I get together, and we trash people, we laugh at people, we laugh at ourselves, we trash each other. All this stuff that goes on. He's on the Jiggy Jaguar, is on the KJAG network, KJAG station, KJAG. And he's on everywhere. He's on Heart Rate. I don't really know how many places you can get him, and he works every day, and he's got wrestlers, and he's got porno people and porno wrestlers, and he's got a lot of right-wing people, because they love to be on radio, because they're Periscope people, and they got opinions. They're not even radio people. And what is a radio person, you ask? I don't even know that, but I know that there's a lot of people doing the same thing, and that's why I want to do a whole bunch of different things. And I could do that because it's my show. It's what I do, and I have the wonderful backing of great people and great stations. I guess SRN1 and 148.ca, where you can go 148.ca/Frank, and you can get, I guarantee you that you will have
Periscope people. What the hell's a Periscope people?
Thing too, so you could see Jiggy Jaguar at the same time that you hear him. Hello, Mr. JJ.
What is a Periscope, people? What is that?
You don't know? You didn't know Periscope?
No, I know what Periscope is. I am very angry they are shutting that down, but...
Well, I never saw you on it.
Oh, I've done all sorts of things with Periscope. In fact, we broadcasted from a dominatrix party at the Adult Video News Awards a few years ago.
All right.
And people kept confusing that for Trump's inauguration. And it was an odd deal.
Scamp. You're a scamp.
I'm a scamp. I'm a scamp and a half.
So I don't exactly know. I'm trying to tell people when to... Well, anyway, yeah, Periscope's gone. Yeah, well, they couldn't make any money. I mean, people who were on it were making a few bucks here and there, doing stupid things. But, and that's only my opinion, but what the hell? This is talk radio, and that's all it's about. It's not about fact. It's about opinion. That's it, right?
Well, pretty much.
Where's Jiggy Jaguar?
What's up? What happened?
Where'd he go?
What happened? Oh,
Hello?
my sound settings changed.
Oh yeah, well let's keep.
When I changed my camera.
Hello? Jiggy.
Am I back? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
There we
just
are.
keep it on sound, volume.
There we are.
Keep it on volume. I don't know what you're talking about when you say you're changing settings.
Well, I got to
And
do.
you're gone again.
Am I there?
Come on.
Am I back?
You're there now, but you cut out here and there now. Talk.
It happens.
Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff. What are you on now, and where are you on? Right? Because they.
What happened? Who got shot?
No, this stopped. What happened? The record stopped. Did you do that?
What?
I'm recording this. There it goes again. Now it. Wow, that's weird.
Where are you recording this?
No, Audacity.
Audacity, that worthless program.
Stopped.
Worthless program.
Stopped and it went back again. That's weird. And I had to hit the button again. What's going on with all this?
What's going on with all this? It's the gremlins in the system. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to look.
Sound. What is it? Sound. I got a new the hard disks.
There's SoundForge and Cool Edit and Adobe and.
Forget it.
I've got to get a new sound file.
Must be something wrong with this program. Anyway, not this. This is not a program. This is a show. When are you on?
When am I on? Well, I am pretty much on all the time.
That's the problem, isn't it? It is the K-Jag. It's just you.
But I am 24/7 at JiggyJaguar.com. I have a 24/7 live stream. Yes, I have an entire computer devoted to streaming my crap.
So what's on right now while you're here?
Well, actually, you know what's funny about this is that I'm streaming this over my website.
So okay, so they're listening to Cotolo Chronicles with Jiggy Jaguar on your show too now.
Essentially.
Whatever it is.
Essentially. Because I have to have a record of everything that I'm on or doing. Because
why?
I don't know. I just have to have that. Whenever I used to make TV appearances for Concerts for a Cause, I always had to make sure that things were set so I could get my TV appearances. If I'm ever on people's podcasts or talk shows, I have to record all those. I have to have everything that's got me on it.
Well, because this is let's face it, this is the nucleus of your activity in life. What you do, everything revolves around this. This is what you
pretty
do.
much.
You don't do anything else, do you?
Well, I do. I don't know. I fancy myself as a fighter, but really that just hasn't worked out well.
Well, are you a wrestler or a boxer or what?
Well, I was kickboxing, but Jiggy kickboxing and Jiggy boxing versus Jiggy kickboxing. When I box, I try to go out there and just run people over. And with the kickboxing, I try to just make people look like idiots. And Also,
that's pretty difficult considering.
Well, see, there is that, and I do these. They have these things called weigh-ins, where they have everybody show up and weigh in and do all this, and then they have them pose and you put your fists up like you're gonna fight. All this.
You mean
crap.
before the match?
Yeah. And I just think those are so ridiculous. So the very first time that I did one of these, I showed up in a mankini and bunny ears. And I don't know if you know what a mankini is.
Yeah, with an olive in it?
No. The
Mankini, I guess. Huh?
It's this. Have you ever seen the show Borat? The movie Borat?
Sure.
He had a green mankini. It was neon.
I didn't see the second one, so is it in the first?
No. I think it's in the first one.
Yeah,
and it's basically a really horrible thing, and I wore this mankini at this weigh-in, and people just lost their minds because I was just respecting the sport.
Oh, you're taking it seriously, huh?
And then I showed up to one of the weigh-ins in high heels, a wig, a dress, and had my significant other do my makeup, and I held my belt as like a purse. So I was a woman.
Was this for wrestling or boxing?
This was for kickboxing.
Oh, that's right. You said that. I'm sorry.
And so I would do all these humiliating things, and I basically was just making fun of the fact that these guys were taking this way too seriously.
And okay, so you did.
Well, where do you go from here with that?
You asked me. I asked you, and you said this is what other things I do.
That's the other things I'm doing. So
you don't kickbox or wrestle. You don't do any of that.
I thought about doing professional wrestling at one point, but those guys take way too much punishment.
Yes, they do, and it takes a long time to train yourself into doing that. You can't, right? I mean, that's a regiment and a.
There are guys who are. Wow, they are taking some serious punishment, and I'm not gonna do that.
They also take serious.
I'm just not gonna
stimulus. Dude, I saw The Wrestler with
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, great movie.
It was a great movie. It was
great movie. Great movie. The Wrestler.
There was a lot of professional wrestlers in that movie.
No, what was it? What's his name again?
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke was in that.
Mickey Rourke. He was the wrestler. Yes.
In that movie called The Wrestler.
The Wrestler.
I like that movie. I like that movie a lot. Well, I don't know if you heard me, but I'm going to be doing some. I'm going to try to do some real performance.
I heard you're going to be doing some different things, and then you mentioned something about Alex Jones, but you called him Alex North, which I think is fantastic.
Wow.
You went Alex North, and I'm like sitting here going,
yeah,
Alex North.
Yeah, him. Yeah.
I'm a huge Alex Jones mark. Oh, I love Alex. Alex and Michael Savage.
Yeah, but where is Savage? He's gone.
Savage's Westwood One contract expired, and he went to a podcast only on his website.
Yeah. He'd be fun to listen to like now. Yeah, he's a double-edged sword.
He's supposedly going to name names when his contract is up of all the people in radio that tried to bury him.
He's already talked about. There all the other guys. He's talked about many of them. How could there be more?
I don't know. He's supposedly going to reveal the name of the agent that, unless you are with this guy, you don't have any success in the industry. And I'm like,
I know.
I bet I know who that is, but I'm not going to. I think it's Craig Kitchen is who he's talking about. But
he never did kickboxing.
No, Savage never did kickboxing. Savage was an esteemed scientist though, and medical.
Oh yeah,
guy.
no, I have not a lot of respect for him. I'm not, politically, yeah, I don't know what he's talking about, but but we're from the same ilk.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. We're from the same ilk, and he's like my Uncle Michael.
Uncle
He reminds me of so many older people that tried to teach me things, and he was
tried to teach you things.
Well, I don't know how you were raised. I don't know what it was like being raised by bears. That
is hilarious, though.
Bears,
yes, because ironically, my mother's I guess it would be maiden name was Bear, Bahre. So yeah,
something of all the animals I could have mentioned, right?
Yes.
I have antennae. I swear
antennae.
I swear I do, but I'm just saying. Well, don't you have uncles when you were growing up, trying to impart knowledge and
oh, I have some stories I can tell.
Do you tell those stories, or you're just having different? Or you're just having guests? Where do you get all these people?
A lot of these people, how this started is I would interview 2 or 3, different people. And then the word would get out that I was booking guests. And so I would get flooded. And I have all these different agencies and different people that I've worked with. Like
Erwin Zucker. You have
Erwin. Erwin is fantastic. He told me the other day, he goes, if you ever get into a bind, just give me a call and we'll talk for 30 minutes about something.
I love because they're all great because he's a real old school guy.
Oh yes, very old school. He had me he couldn't find me a guest one week. And so he was like, I'm going to come on and I'm going to talk about my PR career. And I thought, okay, this is awesome. So I'm asking him, all the various questions. And he's talking about how his first PR job was with Jiggy Jaguar.
Sure.
And he told me this story about how him and this guy that he was working with, they went to go pick her up for an autograph signing. And she was, I guess she lived up in the Hollywood Hills. And they forgot to put the parking brake on this car. And when they got back, they'd realized the car had rolled down the hill. And, and she was like, oh, darling, don't worry about it. We'll just take my car.
The Gabors. Yeah, he would have a lot of stories from those days, those types of people in those days. And, Barbara Cernig has been on a couple of times.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I've gotten I just got a good sense. Obviously, I don't always have guests, and I'm not on every hour of the day. But I have a good sense to pick certain ones that work out.
Erwin has some great ones. He just, I remember the first or second person he booked for me. One of them was Charles Bronson's ex-wife. I'm like, what?
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I like when it goes deep into the into the family and stuff, and then they on the virtue of the name of the star.
He got me. Who was it that one time? It was Sammy Davis Jr.'s bodyguard or something. Had wrote a book.
All right.
And I had him on. He was very entertaining. So it's, I don't know. Erwin has some really great people, and then I have other people that I've gotten through various other sources, and
I obviously know. I asked just for the audience because you have so many more people. I know you've shared a lot of people. Anytime I have a good one, I send it your way because I'm like, oh, you would love this guy. And I don't even take many of them. There's since it being independent, being able to make your own books, your own albums, your own movies, and everything else, there's been a lot of people out there looking for places to talk. So they just go to any audience and try to sell something, and that's where a lot of them came from. And there are ones that don't show up, and ones. I mean, it's really crazy.
I was part of this thing. I don't know. I guess it was Don Mazzella got me involved in this. But I was involved in something called the National Publicity Summit. Mm-hmm. And they basically have... It was me and the producer of the Wendy Williams show, one of the guest bookers from the third hour of Good Morning America. There was all these people on there in this Zoom call. And I'm sitting there going, I shouldn't be here. I start running down the list of all these people. Somebody who books for the Washington Post radio podcast or something. All these different things.
It's too much.
And I'm sitting here going, why am I here?
There's just too much now. And I've done a couple of shows on this too. Everybody's got to have now. They have to have a podcast.
Oh, everybody's got a podcast. Yeah. Back in the day, that was a dirty word. I would mention podcast to people, and these guest bookers would be like, well, we're not interested. And then I was telling them, well, it's a radio show too. Oh, okay, well, we'll do that. Well, now it's the reversal.
They call what we do podcasts no matter what. A lot of people, they don't even know there's, regular.
Yes. They don't realize there's archived audio
and there's just so many, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Remember we went through the list there one of these years, who were the top ones, and that changes. And then of course they're nice guys and some really good, and some people have found out how to make money with it. Like you turned me on to the what was that, Gas House Gang Radio?
Yes, Ralph Sutton.
Ralph, you remember I was on a show with you, and Ralph and I had a great show.
Oh, I listened to that. That was fantastic.
Yeah, because he just from different eras, and it was, but I mean that Gas House Gang there, whatever they are,
Gas House Gang,
they're still making money.
Gas House Gang hanging out with Alex North.
And I tell these people, be on again, won't you? Yeah. And then things happen, and I don't do it, and whatever. I don't, I never worked at this the way you work at it. And you get so many other people. But why do you always do a camera, and you still do? You still have a camera on sometimes and you can't see the guest, just see you.
Oh, what I will do, what I have done recently with that is I'll put the photo of the person up that I'm talking to, and when they're talking, I'll put the photo up, and then I'll go back and forth between me to them, or I'll have a CG that'll say on the phone, and then
talk about high tech. You put a picture of the person.
Pretty much, it's an idea that I seen that Beck and these guys are doing, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna do that.
Why even?
And then I do Skype interviews, which that is the one thing. I know a lot of people were mad as hell during the, and they're not going to take it anymore, during the,
He loves to amuse himself, too, while he's at it.
Yes, it's the pop culture references.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. During the quote-unquote pandemic, as I call it.
Wait.
Here we go.
What do you mean, the quote-unquote? Go ahead, just tell me what...
Okay, here's the thing. Here's my view on the quote-unquote pandemic. I view that...
I'm forget what we said.
We're going to go back. We're going to go back to how that was the greatest couple months of my life, but also the busiest I have been in the last 10 years. But I view that the same way that when Barack Obama was in the White House and everybody kept saying, we're going through a new depression. I got news for you. When we were going through the original depression, people were literally eating dirt. This quote-unquote new depression, I'm able to do this, call you on Skype, on a computer, in my house with heat and air conditioning. That's not the new depression. And so, like with this pandemic.
Do you know that during, I don't mean to challenge you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No. That's why I'm here, brother.
During what was known as the Great Depression.
Yes.
Right? Not everyone was eating dirt.
Well, I know, but I mean, people were really having problems. They didn't have Twitter, and they didn't have a cell phone.
And there were rich people, and there was a middle class. There was all that stuff, but that's not what we're going to talk about here now.
No, and I understand that. I just always find that funny. And like with the pandemic, or as
with the pandemic. Oh, because people are still doing things, and you wouldn't know it. It was a pandemic.
Well, my thing is if it's a real pandemic, wouldn't they all be dead? Because when they did that Asian flu thing, Where would you
get that? Where would you get that from? In your mind, you create a pandemic landscape, and that.
Yeah, because I'm thinking pandemic, everybody's dead.
No, it means everybody. It means everybody can have it. I mean, the people more. It doesn't mean everyone is dead. Where is dead in the word pandemic?
This is why I love you, brother. But
this is why I can't be on with a lot of your pals.
A lot of my pals.
Your pals. You got all these pals that I just don't have it. What do I?
Well, you like some of them, like IQ Al Rizzoli. You're a big fan of IQ.
Some of your pals are, they put their foot down. They know.
Oh, they do. On election night, we had this guy named Josh Bernstein, who is a talk show host out of Arizona, and he had a Donald Trump Make America Great Again tracksuit on.
My God.
And when Trump started losing, I had a couple people on that were just like, is this guy wearing a tracksuit?
Well, what did you do? Did you have a picture of him up or what?
No, he called in on the old Skype-a-rooney. He was on video, and he was excited with his tracksuit. I don't know if he still got his tracksuit.
I was, well, of course, I was on that, the historic night that he won. And
yes. With Barry Farmer and everybody.
There's no savior in any Bible that could make me forgive you for that.
When Trump won the election?
Yeah, because those guys were just, they were just so.
They bought the wrestling promo, man. That's what happened.
They wouldn't hear anything else but what they knew.
They bought the wrestling promo.
It's the know-it-all people. I'm from the critical thinking. And then they just, they pigeonhole you. He's just another one of them liberals. Hey, you know what? Listen to this.
He's just another one of them liberals.
I got kicked off a couple of Periscope things, and I admit.
You got kicked off Periscope?
Yeah, I admit that I do go there. I don't go there to converse because they don't converse anyway. They just, hip, hip, hooray for us. But I go there and I ask things and I try to bother them. Like one of the things I do is go, everybody's talking about this, that, and the other thing, especially the political ones, and I type in, speak louder.
Speak louder.
Louder, right? And then they they read it or whatever and they figure, well, someone can't hear me. So he starts, and then I do it again. Speak louder. We can't hear you. No one can hear you.
Yes.
And they get pissed because no one can hear. They're saying important stuff here, But listen to this. I didn't know this, but there was a name I recognized, and he had a show, and he still has it. He'll have it till the end of Periscope, and no one knows where he'll put it. Okay? You might know the name just by. I'm going, I've heard this name before. Can't remember this guy. And you go on there, and he's building miniatures. Little miniature villages and I guess for trains or I don't know what, but he's sitting at his work desk. He's got all these little pieces and stuff, and he's scraggly, he's got a little beard, and he's like, he bought into the whole. This is a fraud. The whole the whole thing. Everybody wants Trump dead. He bought into
that's But
listen, Lumboy, let me finish it.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm going, I know
I
this
gotta
guy
talk
from
about
somewhere.
that.
Well, before he decides, and he didn't just kick me off, he had to berate me.
Oh, Jesus.
He was like, here's another loser. Here's another
liberal.
Stupid. He's like, you're stupid. And I mean, he just was, okay, listen to this name, Kurt Schilling.
Oh my God, Kurt Schilling berated you and kicked you off his. That is tremendous.
Right? Finally, it was,
What did it look like?
Get him out of here.
I think he was a Philadelphia Philly.
Was he?
He was a baseball player. He was.
That's what he does these days,
He makes trains on Periscope and berates Frank Cotolo. Of course he does.
The first time I went on, I said, why are we here watching a man making little objects, right? Oh, he got
Kurt Schilling.
We're not here. We're not watching it. We're talking. We're having a conversation. You probably don't know what a conversation is, do you? You losing bastard. He was like right over. And then I listened to what they were saying, and I would say something, and I would ask questions. But you can't ask questions because
no, you can't ask questions, and you can't ask questions of either side.
Right.
See, that's the thing that I have learned through this whole thing is
that's not necessarily true because some people have facts, but they don't even want to address it. They just know. That's what bothers me about all of them. None of them care about their opinions or what, but they just know. They know. You don't. They know. I mean, how can something be secret and so many people know it? I used to tell people.
How can something be secret and everybody knows? That's great. That's a Cotoloism.
When I was playing races there for a living for a while, and guys would come up to me and they would say, "So you know anything from, the back in the backstretch? Anyone tell you anything? What do you got? You know something?" I said, "Look, I don't know anything.
I don't know anything.
But a lot of people tell me things." I said, "But let me tell you this: if something is really good, if there's a piece of knowledge that someone has about, who knows, a fix, a drug, right, or anything," I said, "if that piece of information gets to me, it can't be true." Right?
Where's the dirt? I need to know the dirt.
You gotta keep it secret, right? And yet these guys, all these guys, they all know it was a big rig. Do you know how hard it is to rig an election? Does anybody sit back and go, "Oh, it's going to take a couple 100,000 people to do this"?
Well, see, here's where I think these guys got this. And I compare the guys that think the election was stolen from the people who believe that Child Protective Services is kidnapping children and selling them for money. I don't know if you've ever heard about that.
All these things. Well, even QAnon. Did you ever have anyone from QAnon?
No, I don't deal with the QAnon because I'm not gonna trust the plan.
It's like why? It's just like, how do you know? Who tells you? They don't know their sources.
I think
the guy who blew himself up in Nashville on Christmas Day.
Oh yeah.
He believed in the lizard people. Do you remember when that thing was going around?
The lizard people, yes.
There were people, I guess they were from another planet, and they came here and they disguised
themselves. It was called
themselves.
V, and it was on in the 80s.
Oh, my God.
Well, see, like with the Child Protective Services people, where they think, oh, CPS is just going from neighborhood to neighborhood and kidnapping kids and selling them for money. Probably what happened is one thing like that happened at an office, and it was an isolated incident, and they got it taken care of, and they got it shut down. But because it got out, now they think everybody's doing it. And so what probably happened with the election is that someone voted twice somewhere, or someone did something, and then all of a sudden they go, "Oh my God, the whole thing's rigged."
Well, yeah, because they want to believe that. We understand. Yeah, they want. It's cognizant dissonance. But like the other day I keep forgetting his name, the lieutenant governor of, he's a great guy. He's really weird. He's a great guy. He's the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania. Really, and he's there going like there's nothing happened. He said it was a perfectly fine, he's saying everything went okay. He said Trump won the dead mother vote.
Well, see what
they found because there were three people who voted for Trump turned out to be, dead, and they were mothers of somebody everybody knew. So
and see, it's stuff like that where all of a sudden they go, "Oh my God, there's thousands and thousands of dead people voting," and it's like, no, it was three people. It was some scant little deal. Forget about it.
When you were kids, did you ever play telephone with 6 people?
Telephone telewrestler. That.
Yeah, right? That's what it's all about. These people just buy into it because they just love it. And then there's Kurt Schilling.
Kurt Schilling. That is tremendous.
You got to find him. See if
you have that in your wheelhouse that you have been hung up on Periscope by Kurt freaking Schilling.
They blocked me. Nobody wants to talk to me. They blocked me.
Getting back to your original question with the pandemic about what I was doing during the pandemic. What I had one of the busiest times from beginning of March till probably May, because as soon as we got back from the AVNs in Vegas, I believe I had COVID before they had a name for it, and I spent a month on the couch.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
And then they did all this lockdown stuff, and everybody was home. And so my attitude was, if everybody's home, they got nothing to do, they might as well talk to me.
Sure.
So I hit up music PR people. I hit up porn PR people. I did so many interviews with so many people. And I was interviewing people that I never thought I'd ever get my hands on. Yeah. Well, they had nothing to do. They were sitting at home, so they might as well talk to me. And everybody had Skype because everybody was home. Zoom? Oh, I won't mess with Zoom. I tried that once. And
John Binder, remember him? He's been on, I think, two or three times on our show. Remember him?
Yes.
Yeah, he's been on our show. We've had him on a couple of times. He's a funny guy, and I had my old radio partner on. It was great. It's probably in the archives. But that's the only time. I had some problems with Zoom too. One of them is that they charge you.
Yes. Yes, you get too many people on there, they charge you. Yeah, and I'm like, we're not doing that. We'll just do Skype. It's free.
If it's a radio show, my original point was, why show you talking? Why?
For whatever reason, people love watching other people do talk radio. Back in the day, it was like Bob and Tom and Howard Stern and all these people, and now it's Joe Rogan, and everybody loves watching other people do talk radio.
Probably because of phones and stuff, because they could get it and they could see. I don't get the lure.
I don't know. I've watched a few of these Joe Rogan things where he's sitting there talking to people in his big red room, and I don't really understand the allure. But it seems to be a thing. Alex Jones, he's got the giant studio, and people watch him do his show, and back in his cameras that are on roller skates that go back and forth. I don't know if you've seen these.
But ultimately, but they're still on radio. I mean, Beck.
Well, yeah, Beck's got to deal with Premier Radio. He'll never. That'll never leave. And then Bill O'Reilly's trying to, Bill O'Reilly. Talking about radio people. He is in the process of making one of the greatest comebacks in broadcast history.
How is that? How does he succeed?
Because when he was on Fox for 20 years.
Sure.
And he called some black chick hot chocolate and a whole bunch of other stuff.
I think it was a little more than that,
and they threw him out. He was gone. And then he started his own website, and he hired a crew, and he rented a studio from Newsmax, and he does his own show. Okay. And then he started doing these radio commentaries. And before I knew it, he's the new Paul Harvey.
Oh,
and I'm like, how in the world did this happen?
So he was giving this stuff away, and he had sponsors. Is that how it worked, right? Because he wasn't doing it for nothing.
Well, he got with some little tiny radio group, and right around the time that he was starting to do these commentaries, Mike Huckabee, or as I like to call him, Hucklechuckle.
God.
he was starting to try to take that spot.
Well, he has a fine. He was doing those things.
And then he decided he was going to give that up, and he was going to go run for president against Trump. That worked out well.
Well, he has a very good voice, regular radio voice. So, I mean, he could do he could do a whole bunch of things if he got off that bandwagon.
So
right?
so Huckabee leaves, and about the time Huckabee leaves, all these radio stations don't have, the little minute, 2 minute, 5 minute filler that they have every day. So Bill O'Reilly takes this spot, and then before I know it, he's on 400 stations across the country doing a little, basically, when you listen to it, it follows the same format as the old Paul Harvey stuff.
Okay, I got it.
And I'm like, okay, so he's become Paul Harvey. And then he started doing his no spin news that he calls it, because he can't call it the O'Reilly Factor because Fox owns that.
Yeah.
He starts doing this thing, and because he was doing it for Newsmax would put him on the air, and they would run his show. They'd run it like at 2 a.m. or whatever, when nobody was watching except for me at the gym going, oh, hey, what's on at 2 a.m.? I'm at the gym. So, oh my God, it's Bill O'Reilly. And then he got on this thing called The First TV, which is on, Roku and Pluto TV and all. It's a little streaming channel. It's a little conservative streaming channel.
They give them away.
Yeah. So he's got his show on there. And then all of a sudden, Rush happens to get really sick and is probably going to pass away in the next couple of years. So then late last year, Bill O'Reilly starts doing a 1-hour radio show late night on WABC in New York.
Yeah, they went real...
And then he gets picked up by a couple other stations, and I'm like, son of a bitch, this guy's going to steal Rush Limbaugh's spot when he passes away. I'm like, Bill's going to make the greatest comeback in media history. He's got a TV show, he's going to be in the new Paul Harvey, and he's going to take Rush's spot.
But he's, he'll find a way to screw it up. Because
well, yeah, he will.
That's what those guys do. They get so big, got so much money, and then they think they can... walk through people's lives, and they have these extra entitlements.
Oh yeah.
And him, I mean, did he really write any of those books? It was him killing.
No, I can guarantee. You know what is so funny about these guys with these books? Beck and his books, him and his killing books.
Yeah, I mean, how much?
It's always Bill O'Reilly with.
Sure.
And that's the guy that writes the book.
and I'm not talking against anybody who's a ghostwriter, because you make good money and they work and stuff.
Yeah.
But it sells on the name, and I don't know what. I would just love to know, what do they contribute? And they're just looking for more ways to make money. I don't know if any of them can write a sentence. I don't know. Do you?
I don't think. Well, like with Beck, he had that medical condition, and they stuck him in a gyroscope and spun him around a few times, and then he cured himself. I don't know if you heard about that years ago.
It's another thing. I mean, I'm known for being a quick writer, a quick producer of written material, but those guys, I mean, Beck, you go to it's unbelievable.
Beck's got a new book every week.
Yeah, it's what? Anyway,
and it's always him on the cover with these weird poses. He wants to be Walt Disney.
Wants to be Walt Disney.
He wants to be Walt Disney. He doesn't really want to be a radio guy. It's kind of like Vince McMahon doesn't want to be in professional wrestling. He wants to make movies. So these people don't want to be in their chosen professions. It's the strangest thing.
And they have to they have to kind of reinvent themselves in certain ways, because during the Trump years, they were all like.
See, with Beck,
but not now. Now they have to turn around and do something else. They have to be for and against in weird ways. Go ahead. With Beck.
When Beck was on Fox News during the beginning stages of the Obama years,
that was crazy.
There was a couple people that he outed, and they resigned from the Obama administration, and he was getting
Van Jones.
Van Jones, and there was a woman that he outed too. And after the woman resigned, I tend to think maybe Beck got a phone call.
Listen, it wasn't just that, man. He was coming up with the craziest. He had this big blackboard. He's moving.
Oh yeah. He had the blackboard and everything. But I mean, he got the. I always like to say he got the phone call, because all of a sudden, after, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks after this woman resigned, he all of a sudden decided he wasn't doing politics anymore, and it was all peace and love, and he was going to go to Israel, and he was doing all these things, and he didn't do any politics, and he started freaking out, and he had this Hummer designed, and he hired these security people that were at his house all the time. He would go into the mountains and broadcast and not let anyone know where he was. He got really strange. And then he got so strange for Fox, they're like, you got to go. And so he ends up doing his own TV network, and he gets hooked up with a couple of these big religious people, but they're not like real religious people. They're TV religious people. Media. And they start having him fire all of his staff and hiring their staff, and there's all these weird things happen. Well, then when Trump was going to get in there, he thought, much like a whole bunch of other people, oh, Trump's not going to win this. So he starts hanging out with Samantha Bee from The Daily Show, and he starts doing comedy, and all of a sudden he wants to be this big liberal progressive guy, and, these crazy Republicans. Ho, ho, ho. Really? And then Trump won. And then the backpedaling began. And he's like, I support our president. Blah, blah, blah. It was just so fun to watch him backpedal. Yeah. Now that Biden's in there, he doesn't know what the hell to do. So, yeah, there's a lot of these guys.
He hates both sides now. And I did the other day, I happened to put him on to see what was going on while I was driving somewhere. And not that there's anything else on. I wrote to my local radio guys at WHP, and I said, how could you run, they run him, and they run Rush.
Yes.
Right?
And they probably run Hannity in the afternoon.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they do. They do. But when I turn on, when I go to, when I'm moving the dial, while he's on, there's still 3 other stations that are picking him up. That I get.
See, that I wonder if they can exactly do that, because I always thought it was like a market exclusive thing.
It is supposed to be, but I don't understand. Why are there not enough? Are they all, they're powering up or something, and then they're getting into areas that are beyond their market? I don't know, but I think that's ridiculous to. You see what else is on. Oh, there's Rush again. Let's see what else is on.
There's Beck again.
It's like stupid. It's
well,
stupid
and then there's these middle I guess B-list and D-list guys. There's the Mark Levins. There's the
he's morbid. He's I don't care what he says.
Mark Levin.
It's everything I agree with. And it's like, oh God, you are such a downer.
There's Levin, there's Hannity, which I just can't stand Sean Hannity.
He's a performer.
But I love Savage. I'm a big Savage guy. I like Alex Jones just because he's nuts.
There's a lot of young people. Are they all hanging out with Alex North?
What's funny is that Alex, he gets these people where he gets these people on his reporters, and he ends up giving them shows, and they get to be kind of a big deal, and he fires them.
What do they? Why? What do they want to do? They want to do radio, so they buy into this so that they
They moved to Austin, Texas, and hang out at the InfoWars.
In the old days, you remember this too, when radio. With radio, you were at a station, you were known for doing, if you're a disc jockey, you were known for doing, let's say top 40, right? So
yes.
You do top 40.
Yes.
And then you would go, oh no, they're changing the format to a country, and you couldn't make the change, even though the program director wanted someone else. But you were known for doing you were a top 40 guy, or you were, a format guy.
Yes.
So you had to look for something else, move to some other place, because you're a top 40 guy, right?
Yes.
Well, they don't, these days, if you're going to be on talk radio, there's only really one thing you could be, right?
A conservative talk radio guy.
Yeah. And try to get your, and so what do these kids want to do? Do they want to be personalities? Do they want, because
what is funny about all this is that most people don't want to do radio. They don't even really want to do TV. They want to be YouTube people. Like
okay,
this, some of these YouTube people, that's another deal. Like,
they make money.
Mr. Beast and some of these people. I'm like, who are these people?
I got mixed up into something that the artist D did a couple of years ago, and then I lost it on one show and told them all to go to hell. It was just
That's
so
awesome.
ridiculous, And
and there's YouTube people for everything.
He was looking to try to get into that, catch on, because people were making money off of that.
Oh yeah, like I was saying earlier, there's this guy. I don't know where he gets his money, but he's got to be getting money from somewhere. But his name's Mr. Beast, and what he does is he does these charity videos where he'll go out to a dirt track and he'll see these guys, racing with their motorbikes. And then he'll show up and he'll be like, well, I've got 5 brand new motorbikes from Nissan. And it's like, really? Nissan didn't give you these 5 new motorbikes to give to these marks? You're supposed to believe that he just does these things that are charitable.
Okay, so what about him? He's looking. Oh, that's how he's making a living.
I think that's how he's making a living, because I think whoever is getting him the stuff for that video, like there's another guy named Casey Neistat who used to work for CNN before they wised up and got rid of him, and he does this thing on his YouTube videos where he'll do mail time, where people will just randomly send him things in the mail, and then he'll make a YouTube video about it. And I'm like, really? I want people to just send me random stuff in the mail, and I'll make a YouTube video about it.
Yeah, with your luck, you'll get a box. It'll be, there's a severed head in it. And it'll be...
Well, that would make a heck of an unboxing video.
Yeah, see how you think? That's why I said that.
Like a heck of an unboxing video there, Mr. Cotolo.
There just aren't many people like you who can find a way, no matter what the...
what is funny is I got an email over Christmas from some group on Amazon, and they were like, we want you to go over and make a video of one of our products. And I sent them back an email, and I said, well, how do you want me to do this? And they're like, well, pick out a product, send us what the subtotal is with the shipping, and we'll send that to your PayPal. And then you buy the product, and then we'll send it to you. You make a video, and then post a nice review on Amazon. I'm like,
so
okay.
They figured that everybody has not only a phone, which obviously everyone has a phone, so they could make a video, but what about all the editing? They assume everyone can produce this, something like that.
I guess.
Because you need to edit it. I mean, you can't just do it. I mean, you could.
Well, there's a couple different people that I know of and that I work with that they can do all sorts of crazy things just with their phone.
But how do you make?
And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm from the old school of we go out with a video camera, we tape it, we take it back to the I take it back to the editing computer, I transfer the footage in, I edit it. I'm not doing it with my phone. Not doing it.
Yeah, I don't know who's out there or what they're doing. I swear, it's amazing that I've been able to do this continually for 20 years now without forget about without caring. I mean, just so natural.
Without caring.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Well, you know, when Ralph was on my show, and I was, you know, applauding the fact that, you know, this time in his life he's really into it, and he's, you know, he's making money doing it and everything.
He's doing the damn thing, as they say.
He's doing it, and it's wonderful. And then, you know, he's asking me about certain stuff, and I'm just telling him, well, I don't care. I never care. I know he couldn't understand that. How do you not care?
Yeah, I get that out of out of various folks every once in a while, where I'm just like, I don't care.
I mean, if I could, you know, jump on their show once a week and make, you know, whatever living they're doing, it's fine. But for what I did, when nobody wanted to hear it anyway, and then through now just for fun, it's okay. But I don't care. You know, they're all into what is happening.
Oh yeah, and even this goes to guys like Stern. You know, last year in the middle of the year, Howard Stern had announced that his contract was up at the beginning of the year, and he was going to retire. And he was going on this giant tour of being, you know, well, this, you know, I've got 5 months before I'm retiring. I've got 4 months, you know, all this stuff. And then Joe Rogan got that giant deal from Spotify, and all of a sudden Stern's like, I can't be upstaged. So he re-signs a contract, and Joe got $100 million or whatever it was from Spotify. Howard got 160. And I'm like, oh my God.
You see, that's the thing. When I met Ralph on your show when we were on together, that time, and I said, and I was not fooling, who's Joe Rogan?
See, this is the thing.
No.
He was always, to me, he was always the guy who was on that show, News Radio. I'm like,
well, I didn't know he was on that. I remember, I don't know.
But everybody makes a big deal about, well, he's a comedian and he's the play-by-play guy for the Ultimate Fighting Championship and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
so he was an actor and then he became a stand-up guy?
He was a fledgling stand-up comedian who was also an actor. And then he got involved with doing backstage interviews for the Ultimate Fighting Championship back when in the dark ages when the government was trying to ban it. And he just hung out with the company long enough, and then when they became a big deal, he became a big deal with them.
Well, yeah, but how do you get... He must have had... What? I mean, what kind of an audience does he have to just already?
See, he started out on YouTube as a goof. Him and his buddies would just interview local comedians they knew. And then all of a sudden they started interviewing bigger name people. And then before he knew it, he had this studio in Los Angeles where he was having all these various people wanting to show up and be on his show. And then,
but how did they gauge his audience that he had so many people? Because nobody puts out $100 million, you know, unless they
Spotify thought, hey, if we can get him for an exclusive deal, let's get him, let's bring him over here, and we're gonna resell.
He already had a gigantic audience that even if it was a fluke, it grew, right?
Yeah, he had this gigantic audience on YouTube and on the different podcast sites. And then he would not say, like with me, I always adhere to the web is lousy with, you know, whatever this evening, and the old Cotolo phrase, and the web is lousy with me this evening. Yeah. So I put the show everywhere I possibly could. Well, he strategically placed it on Spotify. And he said that at some point, Spotify is going to pay me. Yeah. And by golly, they did. However, once he signed his $100 million contract with them, they started not adding certain episodes with people that they deemed controversial, such as Alex North and some of the other people that he's had on his show. And then they started to tell him
he know his audience would care for that. his audience would want, whoever he was interested.
Well, yeah. And then he would be a good little soldier and get on the air and say, "Oh, no. They're just adding those shows and they're going to be adding them soon and blah, blah, blah." And it was like the entire time I hear him say that, I'm like, I've got to keep my $100 million. I've got to keep my $100 million.
Well, that is a lot to want to give up, But I don't know. If he has an audience, so once he builds his audience, he could keep it. I mean,
well, I don't think any of those people have ever left, as you call it, and I call it, which really makes them angry when I call it this, but brick and mortar radio. Oh my God, radio people just absolutely, their heads explode when I call it that.
Yeah, because it brings back those bad vibes.
Oh my God, they hate it. And but most of the people that they didn't follow Stern over to satellite, and his show has changed a lot too. He used to be. Somebody said after he signed that new deal, they're like, "Do you think that if Howard Stern from 30 years ago or to the Rebel or to meet up with the Howard Stern of today, would they get along?"
Let me ask you about that, because maybe that is a tremendous amount of money for any one person. Now, we know that he has fans and stuff. We know all that. They would go wherever he went, but they're subscribing, right? They're not living on. For a company, I know they merged because two of them couldn't make it, right?
Yeah, two of them couldn't make it, so they got together. Right.
But here's the deal: how did they make money? Now you can't make it just on subscriptions.
There's a lot of times I've heard they don't make money. I've heard from various people that they're bleeding money, but they keep it going somehow.
How do they do that?
It's kind of like iHeart. Hell, iHeart has been in debt for 10 years.
They're in receivership, huh?
But every year they get some sort of deal from a judge. I remember when
there's got to be money. There's got to be money behind. You can't.
Well, yeah, because you can't be throwing these iHeart Music Awards and flying Ryan Seacrest and Cardi B to Vegas every year.
even trade outs won't support the kind of money they give to one guy. What about all the other people who are on? What is the deal with that? How come you never got on? Because every Tom, Dick, and Harry gets on these satellites.
Every Tom, Dick, and Harry gets on Sirius XM.
Do people do it at home and record? Or if it's live, there's no one place to go for Sirius.
I heard they have a studio in California and they have a studio in New York. And the studio in New York, Stern has his own floor. And no one's allowed to go on that floor when he is in the building, unless it is approved by Howard. And all the various things that diva makes people do. But I don't know. There's a lot of people that
how do people get on? I mean, there's a lot of people, you're right, who get on there, and once in a while they get rock people to do their own. What do they do? Tape this somewhere?
Well, see, I heard, and I think you were one of the people I heard this from, that like Bob Dylan just shows up once a month, reads some lines, and leaves, and then they go through and
he did the show, but that's someone that they could manufacture and they could tape and put it together. But the shows go on 24/7, and they must have other people who do shows like Howard.
I've listened to the Elvis channel, which is insane. It's all these random people that at one point or another they knew Elvis.
And they do Elvis covers.
And they do these Elvis shows. Like they had his limo driver on there and he does a show because, well, for a year he drove Elvis. And so he comes on there and he'll be like, Elvis Radio coming up, blue suede shoes.
How do they pay him? I mean, I don't know how this business works is what I'm trying to say. How does it work as a business? I don't understand it. And how does somebody who can bring an audience over say, look, I've done this podcast or whatever it is, and I want to be on Sirius too. And they So what? They got a spot? You got to.
I know at one point, Tom Likas from
yeah, your pal Tom. Yeah,
that's right. I love Tom Likas. Tom Likas was offered a gig with Sirius, and he told him that he could do that on his own, and he would make more money on his own than he would be working for them. So,
well, do they hook up like I hook up here to Canada?
I would almost assume that that's how they do it, because 2 years ago, it was 2 years ago now. Wow. I was going to be potentially on Genesis Communications Network, the same network of Alex North, and because they were getting ready to get rid of him because he was out of his mind.
Sure.
And I happen to I know a guy by the name of Jerry McLaughlin who has a company called Special Guests, where they have all the crazy right-wing people. And Jerry got me a meeting with Genesis Communications, and they were talking about getting me a show on there. And so Jerry was putting me over to him and was talking about how, I'm like the new voice of the millennium and blah 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 blah, all this stuff. I wish I would have taped that phone call, because that was great. Him putting me over like he did. And the only thing that held me back was, at the time, I did not have a barracks box, so I could send a dedicated ISDN phone line signal to them in Minnesota, where they're located. And I was like, well, can I just hook up through streaming with you guys? Oh, no, we don't do that. I'm like, you're still sending things through a phone line? I'm like, we're almost to the year 2020, and we're still sending signals through phone lines for radio. The cable company is going to come out between 8 and 5. It's like, what?
Oh.
Are you kidding me?
Did it hurt when you had COVID? Did it hurt when you laughed like that?
I didn't do a lot of laughing when I had COVID.
It would have hurt. Huh? That lift is you gotta have a lot of air coming into your head.
A lot of air coming into
to continue. Yeah, a lot of oxygen to continue laughing like you do. But it's the Jiggy Jaguar punctuation glossary.
There it is, I guess.
Different ways that you laugh. Well, this is Jiggy Jaguar, my friends, and he's on even as we speak.
Yes.
He's on here, and he's on somewhere else too. No, we're on there, and then when we go off, you'll just what?
I'll be there. What was it you said earlier? I'll be there. We'll be there when we're there.
We will be there, and you will be there too when we are there.
When we are there, yes. You have so many phrases that I have stolen over the years, and I always give you credit, but
that's why
I love reusing your phrases, and that was one of the most proudest moments was when I was at 92.7 The Zoo in Salina, and I was Crash Davis, which was basically a really bad version of it was a really bad Grease Man impression, and I would come on and I would say your phrases. I would be like, it's like a blowfish in a twine factory, or it's like gerbil in a batting cage.
I appreciate it.
And then I started having people, things to me. They were like, well, it could be like a gerbil in a batting cage. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but okay. And then they're like, well, how about a grilled cheese in a Cadillac, stylish but yet classy?
Ooh.
So
they got into it.
They started getting into it, and so. But I am hoping this year, if they do Exotica, the porn convention, in Chicago or in Rosemont, Illinois, they call it Chicago, but Rosemont, Illinois.
They won't have any product. How can they win? Well, by then maybe everybody will be vaccinated and they'll just sell stuff they had before.
Oh, the porn marks will want to come out and meet their favorite stars and get photos. And
I couldn't remember what they were called. Marks. Yeah,
marks, that's right, the marks. You got to get the ducats from the marks, as they say. But my goal is I have 2 people that I want to meet along the way, either going to Chicago or coming from Chicago. One being Man Cow from Chicago, the radio guy.
Is he still on?
He recently had his contract expire again.
Wasn't he doing sports?
No, he was doing political talk. He was doing political right-wing talk in the morning on WLS in Chicago.
Of course.
And he said that when doing radio during the COVID era sucks and it's boring, and he had lost his love for radio and he was leaving. I think his contract was expiring and they told him they weren't renewing it. But my goal is to meet Man Cow. The other is to somehow, some way come to your neck of the woods and meet you finally in person.
Yeah, it would be.
That is the goal for when we go to the porn convention.
What is I wish I could go to the porn convention with you.
I would get you a press pass if you wanted to go.
I know. I go. I don't know how long I'd last in there. You know, he's back up. They'd kick me out in no time, I'm sure.
I doubt that. I've seen some of these porn marks. My favorite is the guys that walk around with the belts and have the porn girls sign their belts. I'm like, what?
But I mean, not being a press person. But all right. So that's what you're looking at for
April.
MMXXI. That's 2021.
Yes, yes, and Roman numerals. Fantastic.
Yeah. MMXXI is. What are you gonna? Any other plans, or are you just gonna wait and see what?
Well, supposedly over the summer, we have to drag Brittany's little girl and her and my mother are going to go to Vegas for a vacation, which I'm not real big. I gotta have something to do while I'm out there. Maybe they'll have.
Well, isn't that where they have the convention? Couldn't you?
Well, no, it's virtual this year, so they won't be doing the convention.
Oh, okay.
So maybe I'm hoping they have cat camp, and I can attend cat camp while I'm there.
What cat camp?
I'm gonna explain cat camp. There's this guy on, and I've had him on my show because I'm a huge mark of this guy too. I've often been told that I'm just a mark. I'm a mark for everything.
Did you say cat camp?
Cat camp, yes. CAT, cat camp. There is this guy on the internet. He's on YouTube. His name is Jackson Galaxy. And he does this thing every year called cat camp, where he gets all these cat people together and they share tips and tricks on what to do with your cat.
See, I hate cats.
And since I have 2 cats who live with me now, Peter and Emmy was an accident, but she was kidnapped from Brittany's job and brought
the names of their cats. I have 2 cats with me. Their names are
yes,
and James.
Peter and Emmy.
When am I gonna need to know their names? You have to just say I have 2 cats.
Well, Brittany has 6 cats, but
you have to personify them, right? Eddie and James. These are cats with characters. What characters?
Hey, we have a cat over at Brittany's house that is a character. She ended up living with Brittany because when she was first born, she bit her mother's nipple off, and the mother decided, well, I'm done feeding all of you. So she has a story. She's got a backstory, as they say in the Marvel movies.
Did she change much when she was second born or third born?
Third born, that's right.
You know me and language. I drive everyone.
Yes. And I love it. That's why I love you, brother.
Well, look, let's call it a night. What do you say?
Let's call it a night. Yeah, well, we can do that. We can we can close up the Hallelujah Trail and go home early.
let's
We can
go live our lives.
shut the lights off and.
Yeah, there's not really much going on here. And what's another?
So you're not doing Zoom calls either.
I did Zoom calls only. I only got Zoom because John Biner only had Zoom. So
who are these people that only have Zoom? I've talked to a few people that are like, I don't have Skype, I just have Zoom.
Well, they got involved.
Download it.
They got involved during the boom. You'd be rich now if you bought that stuff.
You know what I think is so funny about the Zoom thing is that all these people who are big Trump people, and they're like, Trump's giving it to China. Oh, I got to go do my Zoom call. You know who owns Zoom? A Chinese company.
I did it.
I'm like, really?
And he, totally benefited from the pandemic.
The people who benefited the most from pandemic were plexiglass makers and mask makers.
Yeah, he wasn't the only. He wasn't the only clown show on the bill. There were a lot of other ones, but his really took off because of I don't know why.
I'll tell you the Trump thing is amazing to me that so many people fell for a wrestling promo. Him getting up there and going, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And everybody's like, yeah. And I'm like, he's not going to do any of that. Yeah. He's not going to get in there and do any of it.
Yeah, well.
What I thought was funny was when he first got in there, he had all these ideas. And the Republicans and the Democrats told him, you can't do any of these ideas. And then he's like, well, I'm leaving. And they're like, you've been here a week. You can't leave. And he's like, I'm leaving. I'm resigning. Like, no, you can't. So then he just started signing things and holding them up.
Yeah, I don't want to give him any more airtime. So let's not talk about him anymore.
Okay, I just always find it so strange that all these people fell for the wrestling promo.
That is the most amazing thing, that there was so many people who don't care what he says and what 90% of the time what he says he just makes up anyway. So it just goes to show you there's a lot of people out there who want something.
I think they want to believe.
I don't want to get into it. I did a show when he was running. I'm going to one of these days, if something happens, maybe I'll run the show. I did a show with Ray when I had a confrontation. I was going to have a confrontation.
Confrontation?
I was going to have a confrontation with some guy in the neighborhood who just putting up these giant signs, these Trump signs, and we, a lot of us knew him from New York and other stuff. And the point I'm trying to make here is that I said in that show, it's the only time I ever did it. I did an entire show on why he'd be a complete waste. And it all turned out to be true, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It didn't.
Well, there are still people to this day. In fact, I had one on my radio show today. Sheriff Joe Arpaio. I don't know if you know that name.
Oh wait, is that guy with the big hat who's on Fox every once in a while?
No, he was the guy that was the sheriff in Arizona that made all the prisoners wear pink.
I didn't know that.
And he did all sorts of humiliating things to him, and there for a while he was like, America's sheriff. And then he started backing Trump, and then they're like, we don't know this guy. He has a new book, so I had to have him on. But he's still yelling and screaming about how, well, I've got this in my book. I've got Obama's fake birth certificate. And I'm like, guys, that is over, dudes. He's been the president, and he's been out of office. That ship has sailed, guys.
Oh, man. I don't know. Same since the great Randy died. Things are just different.
Things are just different. Well, at least it's not. At least you're not backing. What is it? The guy that everybody loves, Vermin Supreme. Have you seen this guy? The guy with the boot on his head.
Who is that?
There's this guy who runs. He lives in New York, and every time there's a presidential election, he registers to run for president in New York. And his name is Vermin Supreme. And he wears a giant boot on his head. And his his party, I think, is the boot party, where he wants to give everybody the boot.
I see.
And one year he campaigned on the fact that the minute he became president, he'd get everybody a free unicorn. The guy is insane, but people love Vermin Supreme, man.
The Communist Party always had a candidate for president when I was in New York growing up, and then I don't know what happened to him. Maybe they're still there. His name was Louis Abelafia. It was the same guy.
Louis Abelafia.
Yeah, Louis Abelafia. He was.
I remember in the 80s hearing about this. I don't know if he ran as a third party, but there was a guy who ran for president every once in a while, and he was I think he was third party, and he ran every time, and he never got any votes, but he always ran.
Yeah, I don't know how they.
I would have to ask my mom, because she would be the one that would know that information. But there's all these people that it's just so strange, and it just gets stranger because really does anybody, and I'm not one of these election fraud people. I just find it strange that Joe Biden got more votes for president than Barack Obama. Come on.
Oh, well, that was all because of Trump.
Well, that too. They're just like, we got to get rid of this guy. Vote for anybody.
That's not. That's anyway. We don't have to talk about.
No. I just always find the whole thing is so strange. But
radio's dying, and I hope you can still make a living doing something with it all as it goes on. And
if we take anything away from this night, it will be the fact that you called Alex Jones Alex North.
Alex North.
Because I'm thinking, are you thinking of the guy that did the Iran-Contra?
I don't know.
Oliver North.
North comes to my mind. Maybe there was an old actor or something named Alex North.
There was Peter North. He's a porn guy. I know of him, but
let's not hang ourselves up on that. I mean, it's if you ever need a reference, you don't know what good it'll do. You tell him, hey, talk to Frank Cotolo.
Talk to Frank Cotolo. He's the man with the name that adorns the title of the program.
Yeah, and he'll tell you.
He'll tell you. He'll tell you on the Hallelujah Trail. Because remember, the Frank is on.
And the Frank is on, and he's been on before them all, and he's still here until he's gone. So you take care, and if you need me, because every once in a while I go, hey, you want to be on and talk to this? But I'll come on.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to continue that tradition as we move into the. As you said earlier, MCMXCIIVI or whatever.
MXXI. Let's get
That's it. Get it straight, damn it.
XXI. We could start a whole station. This is MMXXI Radio. Listen this year.
Home of the hits.
Yeah, they go, listen.
The phrase that pays.
Huh?
The phrase that pays.
Yeah, it would be like MMXXI. Listen this year, because there ain't going to be any other year. We're not going to add another I. Screw you.
You could do the imaging for it. It would be fantastic.
We're on this year, and that's it.
We're on this year. That's it. We've got 365 days of great radio, and then we're gone.
If you want to be a guest, you better hurry.
That's right. If you want to be a guest, you better hurry.
You better hurry. It's already summer here,
That's right. That's right.
But anything else?
That would be a great radio format, though.
Well, I'll put it.
We're only on for a year. And most radio stations, the way they are anymore, that ought to be a format.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll talk. Come on, and
Yes, yes. I would like to have you on at some stage of the game with a woman by the name of Lori Bischoff.
Yeah,
she is she's one of these self-help motivational people.
Oh, I had that one great one you gave me. I forgot her name. Go ahead.
But I want to have you and Lori on.
Okay.
And she was in Playboy at one point.
Yeah, so was this other one, Mattresson. I forgot her name. Something Mattresson. I don't know. She's cool. She actually talked to an angel for me. She came on twice. And the second time, she told me what the angel said.
I would like to see
I try to respect
just because you have all the craziness that is Frank Cotolo. I would love to have you interview, and I'm going to see if I can get this set up, but you need to look up the name Dr. Susan Block.
Dr. Susan, okay.
She is the sexologist of the year.
Oh, of the year? They have one every year?
She has this book called The Bonaboo Way. She's buddies with our pal Veronica Monet, if you can believe that.
Oh, of course. I think, yeah, well, Veronica. Well, then, yeah, they're on the level. They're just out
and
there.
She does this show on Saturday nights, and it is, when you're watching it, it's like she's doing a talk radio program, but she's in the background got all this porn going on.
Really?
And I'm like, what in the world is this? So,
she knows Veronica?
yeah, because when I had Veronica on, I asked her at one point, she was like, well, I've talked to various people and all this stuff. And I said, do you know who Dr. Susan Block is? And she goes, oh my God, Dr. Susie, I love her. She's one of my best friends. And I'm like, okay.
We talk on Twitter. That's about it. I haven't heard from Veronica in ages, but every now and then, because I'm not, well, anyway, this is a Cotolo Chronicles. Jiggy gets me into these. He makes me think of things.
The door's open in your head. Don't shut them. Just leave them closed.
Right. This is wonderful radio, and that's what we have. And every now and then, Jiggy shows touch that magic that is wonderful radio. So listen to him anytime, day or night, because he's streaming. He's on the cloud.
Making
I'm on the
it
cloud
happen.
over at SRN always. They're even playing some of my old music there now too. And anyway, there you go.
I played some old music the other day from a gentleman that I think you may remember by the name of Adam Kittle.
Oh, Adam Kittle. Where is Adam Kittle? Adam Kittle mixed an album of mine that it was brilliant. He did a great job, and I remember he was here. He was in this house with another guy named Denny, who was a ex-Vietnam guy.
Denny Van, I believe.
Yeah. He eventually died.
Oh wow! Okay, I did not know that Denny had passed away.
Adam was, and Adam took care of him, man, because the guy, he was an invalid, Denny, and you were actually in that. We did a show sometime in. A long time ago.
The old Amcast days.
Yeah, when Amcast was still cooking around. What about, is he still out doing stuff, Adam?
What's funny is we're friends on Facebook for whatever reason, and I played some of his music one day, and he must have watched one of the streams or heard the show or whatever, and he goes, thanks for keeping that old hippies music alive.
Adam Kittle.
Adam Kittle, and then I think the other day last Sunday we played some music from C.J. Ray. I have all these old Amcast. When everybody made the announcement that Amcast was going out of business, or
you went and grabbed everything.
I went and grabbed every freaking thing I possibly could. Cotolo shows. I grabbed everything that I could find, music-wise, everything.
That's wild, because back then it was really tough to record shows. It was a lot of people didn't have broadband or anything. That was a weird time. But anyway, look, let's go.
Okay. I just you got me down a rabbit.
It's not you. It's me.
It's not you. It's me.
We'll make it up right now. We'll be talking. You stay well. Stay away from the pandemic. Don't eat dirt.
That's right, because we don't want to be in the Great Depression again. And this is like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. We bring everything back to the beginning of the show.
Yeah, let me know.
You're like Larry David.
Let me know anything. Just stay in touch.
Let me know anything.
Yeah, that'll be that. Okay.
I'm going to get you hooked up with Dr. Susan Block. That's one of my goals.
Yeah, keep sending me things and stuff. Just let them get in touch with me, and then I'll get back in touch, because I'm not hunting after anyone unless, it's so great that nobody would have.
Joanna Angel, maybe.
I don't know. Well, Biner's going to be on again. We have so much fun on those Biner shows. You should go listen to them. It's joke after joke because those are good shows. They're all juice talk. Everybody can go over.
We need to get you, Small Hands, and Joanna Angel together again.
I kept saying to, of course, I'm terrible at following up things, but I told Aaron, I said, next time let's have you, I want you and Joanna. And this is a good time to talk about it too, because there's not a lot
She
going
just
on.
recently sold her entire company and
Did she?
has made, I think, a lot of money.
Got a bundle. All right. Well, I'm going to get in touch. Because he has an album out.
Yes, he does.
I was going to, and I was going to say, I got to get in touch with him one of these days and tell him, come on, we'll promote the album and something like that. But I'm a slug. When, but still,
I'm a slug.
But I'm on the top of the pile of all the slugs.
You're the bard of broadcasting. You can't be a slug, sir.
Top slug. All right.
The
Look,
top
you take care.
slug. Thank you. Have a good night, Cotolo.
We'll be in touch. Good night there. You take care.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch. Good night there. There goes the jig. Woo, the jig, the Jaguar. I'm going to fix this doggone thing. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We'll have to fix it up and not be. Look, we went till 11 anyway. Look at that. Yeah, let's leave early and then work out.